tell me about Hong Kong, because I've been to Japan, and it's incredible.
Oh yeah.
I was shocked and blown away at the same time. Just how efficient they are, and just everything is totally different, and is a reason why China and that area, Asia, is just a powerhouse now in the world.
Oh, it was fun. I mean, we don't regret for a second moving there and living there. We were only there maybe a year and a half, but we also don't regret like moving from there. So the funny thing about Hong Kong was, after I graduated from Harvard, we took we got these Circle Asia tickets. We traveled around to a bunch of countries on kind of a cheap airfare that kept on you having to go back to Hong Kong. And I remember standing in the middle of Central in Hong Kong, saying to Irene, as we were ducking in and out of air conditioning, because it was ridiculous. Just Oklahoma is hot, but Hong Kong is like just humid and hot and smelly, and
there's people everywhere,
jostling you because they just need to get through you to where they want to get to, and saying, "Oh, wouldn't it be neat if we one day lived here?" And then, sure enough, whatever it was, 15 years later, we were in Hong Kong. But to me, it's like everybody knows, or you look at a few pictures and you go like, oh, it's really densely populated, and then it's like the little things that for me really kind of wake you up, right? Like about how different a lifestyle it is. Like, so we just had our second son, so Declan was probably less than 6 months old when we decided to move around the world. I wouldn't necessarily recommend that to anybody, just anybody listening. Not my advice, don't. So Irene, being the great mom that she is, she had all his toys, and like she filled a 20-foot container with like baby toys, which are as it turns out, all made in China, all readily available in China, and like only like 3% would ever fit in like any reasonable, like ridiculously expensive, but still incredibly tiny apartment in Hong Kong. So there was like more than a few epiphanies like that, or like, we didn't have a car because you just don't. You're living in a city, so you end up taking the subway, walking a lot, which was great, and then taking taxis a lot. Well, there's no room for a big stroller with one of these clip-in, clip-out car seats, right? So you just have to adjust yourself. Like so our, which is probably horrible. Probably someone will say, no, this would have not helped him at all. But we'd have like a baby Bjorn. Declan would be strapped to my front. I'd put the seatbelt on and brace myself in the back seat just in case, because the taxis are zipping around, but you just get used to it, right? So it's like, to me, it was like the small little adjustments in life that probably were, we expected crowded, we expected busy, we expected people from all over the world. It was just some of those small adjustments that kind of sunk in.
What are some of like the big kind of lessons then from the industry that you kind of brought from Asia, and just how the systems that they have and the way that they do business?
Well, to me, the big takeaway, which I guess is a takeaway, but everybody can decide if they want to apply it, was that there was no reason for anybody to be in Hong Kong. I mean, it's a fun city. There's a lot to do. The food is great. There's actually it's a pretty city too, in terms of some of the views and architecture and that sort of thing. But there's really only one reason that anybody lives there, and that's to make money. And the one thing I appreciated most about Hong Kong was it was just straightforward and in your face, and you'd get moved from Australia or from the UK or from Germany or from Phoenix or Pittsburgh or wherever, and they'd stick you, your company would stick you in Hong Kong, and I was there to help source goods from China, mainly China, other Asian countries as well, for U.S. retailers. But you were there with that kind of sole purpose, so. It's great, but again, that's one of the reasons that we don't regret not still living in Hong Kong. Is if that's your life's motivation, then stay there, and there's probably lots of opportunities to make lots of money. But for me, there were other things that were important.
Family and coming home.
Family
Pace of
doing
life and all
things
the rest of it.
beyond just kind of earning a profit for a company. That kind of drove me that it was a useful contrast, right? So again, nothing against it. What I did appreciate was just the honesty. There was none of this camouflaging, like, oh no, we're all here to do good for the world or this. No, it's like, how much do you make? How much do I make? How can we make money? It was like a very
kind of a rat race, isn't it?
Like a intense rat race with some of the best rats from around the world. No, they weren't just sending kind of schmoes. It was like the best and the brightest, and somehow I found myself sent over there by accident. But it was a bunch of really smart people trying to look for